Hey everybody, thanks for joining on this call. I'm Julie Hill of Elysium Productions. Really excited for all these people to get together. Of course, Cindy Novotny, which she doesn't need any introduction because she's kind of amazing. John Bunn and Nick Miller from How to Film Weddings, and they of course have their own respective amazing video companies. And then Jose Villa and Joel Serrato, who are amazing photographers. And Joel, I'm especially excited to hear your perspective since you've done both video and photo.
Yep.
So everybody in the bottom, you guys know there's a Q&A thing there, a chat thing. Just feel free to pop in there. We're obviously going to be addressing a lot of stuff, but I want to start with Cindy to kind of give us a little bit of an overview of what's going on and what to expect.
All right. Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. I see the numbers. People keep coming in. We're thrilled to have you. We are also recording this. And so if we get to a point where some people can't get in over an hour or over 100 people, we just want you to know that they can reach out if you get chats from people and we can send them the recording. So for those of you that don't know me, I am the trainers and consultants in the hospitality, event, travel and tourism industry. 60% of my business is focused all on that, 40 is on corporate. So we do a lot of training and development with law firms, hospitals, with medical, real estate, financial. So, I'm going to share some of the things I'm hearing because as we were chatting before everybody came on, and I'm not exaggerating, I've been on webinars from 6 in the morning until sometimes, because some of our clients are, all the way over in Asia. And so 7 at night, we're ending up getting off these webinars. And our webinars are with all sorts of different clients. I'm on with hotel owners, I'm on with GMs, I'm on with destinations. I mean, we were on a call with Rwanda the other day with the Gorillas Nest, talking exactly about how we're going to come back into this and what we're going to do. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I know everybody hears, you listen to the news, and depending on where you are listening to this from, because again, different parts of the world, if you're calling in from international, there's different things happening. I can tell you, I was on a call with Switzerland yesterday. It was so enlightening because I was in Switzerland when they shut Switzerland down, and they canceled the biggest watch show ever in Geneva and the car show. And they are starting to open up by the 15th of May, salons, places where you can get facials. I thought it was funny that Switzerland's opening up that first. Perfect. And so when you look at it, you say to yourself, we're coming back, okay? Depending on what state you're calling in from, we know that many of the hotels are working on FF&E, which is the renovations, and looking at, wow, while we're down, we don't have to replace and displace any rooms, how we're going to open up. I'm on calls where what's that going to look like? There's a lot of questions out there. Well, oh my gosh, no one's going to have a wedding and no one's going to travel. What I can assure you, that's not the case. And I can also assure you that people are just like me. We are going to be revenge spending and revenge traveling. All right. I will be the first one. The moment we get to say we're back making money, because I've never worked so hard in my life making no money. I mean, I thought these 6 weeks I've been off, I said to my husband, maybe I could have got a suntan or something. And I'm working now. Again, we're not charging for anything. So as soon as that money rolls in, I'm heading off to Nordstrom, I mean to tell you. But here's the thing. We will open slowly. There will be hybrid, okay? Absolutely. For all of you in the photography and videography business, this is fine for you. Okay, this is okay, because no one's going to say, charge me less because you're only going to be taking pictures of 50 people. No, they're just going to be glad you're there taking pictures and doing videography of the event, whether it's a corporate event, more so than ever, because post-COVID, which I never want to hear that word, like post 9/11, this is a totally different deal. Once it's over, my friends, it's over, okay? It's going to be so much about celebrating. And I've talked to so many people that honestly need to get a new job, because I've talked to people in the travel industry that are saying out loud, I'm never getting on a plane. And I've said to them, in all due respect, stop being a travel agent. I've talked to people in the event business. Oh, I don't want to be with crowds. get out of the event business. So what you got to do is you got to get your head wrapped around, we will come out of this. So some of the things that we're seeing is that your connections right now, even more so than 6 weeks ago. And I did my very first, webinar on March 15th when I landed back from Dubai after Engage. And then I kept doing them every day for all our different clients. You have to know that 6 weeks ago, nobody remembers anything anybody said. What they're going to start remembering starting right now. How you act on social media, how you act in every conversation you have, that's how you're going to come out of this, because your connections and what you're doing is going to be critical. Now I say bless everybody that's like so rich and everything. I love that. I think it's great. That says, oh, we're going to come out with so much more meaning. We're not going to want to do this. Okay, that's fine. I have 40 employees. I got to get back to work. I kept 10 of them. For my small business, I kept 10 of them on salary with all their insurance. That's a big nut, okay? So when we come out of this, I got meaning that we're going to go back to work. And I told everyone on my team, there is a today team and a tomorrow team. The today team is going to prove to me who's going with me tomorrow, because we are probably going to be working on Thanksgiving, Christmas, 7 days a week. All our stuff got postponed. So I've said to everyone, I don't want to hear any whining like, oh, I can't believe it. We got to do it like back to back. Oh yeah, back to back. Because to make it up, I know people that had to miss their vacation and their spring break, and they're booking it as soon as they get everything open, they're booking 2. So people aren't sitting back like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So a few things I really wanted to share is that you have to be a very curious individual. I want you, and while we're on this, I hope questions are coming in, because I'm going to stop talking in a few minutes. The questions you're going to ask these gentlemen and Julie are vital to your business. You have to ask questions that are pivotal of what we're going to have to do. A lot of this is a mindset. Everybody goes back to zero when the rules change. And I have to say, I love that, because I've been kicked to the curb so many times that I go back to zero a lot. And then I just pull myself up by the bootstraps and go back to work. Every time I look at a market segment, all of a sudden it changes the point. Our medical customers. So we do all the patient client service training for a lot, Cedars-Sinai, a lot of the major hospitals around the US. Now we're not doing clinical, don't worry about it. I'm not involved on that side. But we have big doctor groups that have like 100 to 200 doctors. So I said to my sales team, get on the phone, call every one of them, because I guarantee you they're doing Zoom patient. You have to go to the doctor, you get on the phone. And I found this out because my dad's diabetic. He's having to have all his calls over the phone. And my dad said, my doctor was worthless. He wasn't like as nice as when I'm in the office. So we booked 5 webinars because I got all these doctors, and I said, show me exactly where your office is in your home. I mean, some of them, the backdrop was like their laundry was hanging there. I said, guys, what is that? Okay. I said, and by the way, where's your white coat? Like, you need that white coat. They said, why do I need a white coat? I said, you're a doctor, for heaven's sakes. Put on the bloody coat and act like a doctor. They said, well, I'm just working from home. So there's a few things we did that I believe helped my state of mind and my team. Number one, we have a no pajama rule, and I'm not kidding. My husband started it on 2 days. So I came home from Dubai. I didn't unpack my suitcase. I kept walking around it, looking at it, going, I might have to leave soon. He said, I don't think so. So after 2 days, he said, unpack the suitcase. I said, okay. Then I was in my pajamas. He said, and then get dressed. I said, okay. Because, occasionally I need a bit of a slap out of it as well. So I said to our whole team that I'm paying. But I have furloughed people, by the way, that are showing up every day. And they're following the no pajama rule because they call in on their own. I can't make them, but they want to. I said, here's the deal. This state of mind right up here is going to be vital to our resilience. We got to go into this like we are fighting for every bit of it. I'm a bit scrappy. You know what I mean? I'm a bit like, I can do this. I mean, is it going to be just sit back and let the leads fly in? But I got to tell you, all of you listening right now, there's a lot of you that I've known over the years that I've helped. Photographers. Some of you have heard me tell the story about one photographer in London who ended up loving me. He didn't love me at all when he heard me speak. He went at me and said, you have no clue. Here's what happened. he actually realized that all my examples of how you respond, Julie's one, but she loved me through the whole thing. How you respond to an inquiry, when you get an inquiry, is you respond immediately. Thanks so much for reaching out. Would love to set up a call. What would be good? And Julie, did it not work?
It worked.
It worked. It worked. See, some of us were lazy going into COVID-19. Some of us took everything for granted going into COVID-19. Some of us copied each other, pricing, followed different paths. This is a time for everyone to step it up. This is a time to say, whatever got me here today is not necessarily going to take me into the future. I got about 3 minutes to my 15 minutes, a few things you need to know. Recovery is going to be driven by business mix. So I'm not sure of all the 100 people we have listening, if we're all in social or corporate or fashion. So I want to just chat with all of you in a little bit different way. Number one, I want you to know that when hotels open, events will come back. And they will come back in a hybrid, as I said earlier. But what's going to happen is the rate categories are going to fluctuate. We do know that limited service hotels, okay, some of our clients, the Hilton Garden Inns, probably not many of the places you're going to do events and things. Those Extended Stay of America, those are already, they've been open through the whole thing. They're running between 80 and 90% occupancy. They've had the best RevPAR, which is revenue per available room, which doesn't mean anything to you, except that means you're going to have events. So you got to know that. They're coming back. Marriott came out yesterday. They've been the first to market with everything. Their CEO, who by the way has cancer, came out, with his bald head and said, here's what we're going to do. He yesterday put out the entire sanitation, safety, everything that's going to happen. Every other hotel company now is scurrying. Marriott got there first. Now remember, they have luxury divisions. They've got all the Ritz-Carltons, the St. Regis. They are going to open up, and they're going to open up strong. Because when we open up, I want you to remember something. The world has been closed for renovation. And we're all going to have a grand opening at the same time. See, I've opened a lot of hotels in unbelievable cities, but we opened one. And so everybody else sat back while the press and everybody came out in the marketing, and bam, we got all the business because we were the sexiest thing in town. Well, guess what? Everyone's going to do it at the same time. And so those that are more organized, that have their strategic communication plan, whether I'm a photographer or a videographer, how am I going to jump in the minute they say? So even with how am I going to do the pictures? How far am I going to have to be at the beginning? What are we going to have to do? Microphones. Think about when I'm on stage, they just hand me the mic. I've already been on with all of our big companies that do the conventions. Everyone's going to have their own mic. There's going to be sleeves on those mics. I get the mic and I take mine with me. All these things. You know how we throw things around rooms to do the Q&A? Nah, that's not going to happen quite as quick. You also have to know that the Middle East is starting to get ready to recover, and they're going to have a lot of business there because everyone's going to stay domestically. When I say domestically, I don't mean just here. Middle East is going to stay Middle East. So look at your marketing, look at your clients. Are you reaching out to them? Pan-European's going to stay that way. UK, US, lots of locals. So then instead of the local wedding going to Florence from the US, maybe 20 people will go to Florence. You will go to do the wedding, but they will live video stream to 50 family members in the US. Are you equipped to figure this out, to know that you can be the solution? Not to be like, well, I'm just the videographer. I mean, no. You guys are all, you're connected on stuff. You can figure it out. You can partner up with people that you might not have worked with in the past. We also know there is a bit of deferring money. So what's going to happen is when these hotels really begin to open, the amount of money they're going to put in is going to be significant. And many people don't think like that. But I've been on the phone with owners, and they're literally holding back the cash to be ready to open. The other last thing I'm going to say for all of you is to look at the luxury home sharing, not Airbnb, but like One Fine Stay, where they are exclusive villas, exclusive estates, where people will be doing very special events. where they can take a family and everybody's got a villa over here and a home over there. So those are other areas that we're going to see a big resurgence. So I'm going to go ahead, stop talking, and I would like, questions are coming in. I want to start with one question that was sent in to us in advance, that what if they restrict events for months? I mean, if you're a photographer or videographer, like, what do you think you might do? And let me just go ahead, Joel, why don't I turn it over to you and Jose and have some discussion on that?
You know, I'd say that I think it's important to look into your business and see other avenues of making money and profits. For example, for us, this all kind of started with one particular bride of mine who said, hey, since I have a lot of time right now, what about if I get to going and making my albums right now? So guess what? I said, yes, right now is the perfect time. A week later, the bride ordered 4 albums. I think the same situation with Jose. So now we are actually reaching out to clients and saying, hey, right now we have nothing but time. So let's start making your albums that you've been wanting to do for a while. So that has been a whole other revenue source that we never have really concentrated on before. I have another client that's interested in ordering prints, fine art prints for her home. So all of those are different aspects that I would say look into your business on how you can, strategize and come up with another revenue source.
I love it. And let me just pick up on one thing you just said that is obviously your proactive thinking. Wow, one bride got me thinking, and now I'm reaching out. This is that entrepreneurial spirit that we're supposed to always have. But when you said fine art prints, it dawned on me that all of you in this business are very artsy, very clever, you can look at something and that piece of art. I can even see you building relationships with some of these customers to think about not just the prints of their wedding, but even saying, because Zooming and having them show you their living room and saying, you really could do with a piece from this. You could take on, you may not want to go into the design world, but you might be like, I got an eye for this stuff. I'm like really clever, right?
You're absolutely right, Cindy. I think it's important to not just email a client and say, hey, here's some information on an album, and this is how the process works. You literally have to send those samples of those swatches for the album, tell them that the album company is ready to go, have them see what their book will eventually look like, and they can tangibly hold the materials and make that decision. Also with the prints, it is important to, when you're going to sell a print, to go on FaceTime with your client and say, hey, show me where you want to put this. Oh, okay. I think you need to do like a 40 by 60 there, not just an 11 by 14. And
exactly.
And we should print it on archival paper, and we should do it this way, or whatever it is that you're trying to sell. I know Jose has a print shop, so he has a little more experience that he can kind of shine.
Yeah, it's just a lot of these fine art, beautiful landscape photos that I've taken over the last 20 years that I just sort of slapped on this website, and people are loving it right now. They have the time to look at maybe their bedroom or their living room and get some images printed. One thing though is we've shared this information with a group of photographers on a call like this before. 2 weeks ago? And one of the big questions was, how do you approach a client without being so needy in this particular time, or hurting someone's feelings, let's say, or whatever, about this difficult time, about, hey, how about give me some money,
And my answer was, get out of your way.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just say to that, this is the limited thinking that we have got to get rid of. Because as an example, I'm on with 500-600 people on some of these big Zoom calls with, destinations, all over the, their tour destinations. And we did a poll, and we said, when vendors reach out to you, and obviously hotels or photographers or event planners, before COVID, what was the percentage of you calling them back? And it was like 10% of the time they would call a vendor. We love to say the word partner, but I'm a bloody vendor, right? So that was the 10%. I said, during COVID, what is the percentage of people calling you back? 90%. People want to talk. I was on the phone last night with a client of mine in Dubai. It was 7 o'clock my time. He like talked for like hours. And it's because he's by himself in a hermetically sealed high rise on the 90th floor of some, building. And we just chatted. So when you're reaching out, you're actually doing a favor. I've been bringing up value proposition. A value proposition is look at what the problems are your customers have. One is there's been no time. They couldn't work on their album before this. They've got all the time in the world. You're actually helping them. And then to Jose's point about when you look at, I look at this and I think about if you were looking at my house, okay, you would go, that piece of art there. And I would love your opinion, right? You should actually I have a farm in Iowa, and I could have somebody, you could say, when this is all over, we need to really come there because it's a beautiful farm and take a picture. Because I've got a picture that was done by some, goofy guy, and take a beautiful picture. Now, who's going to think that's for free? You see what I mean? But you're giving me inspiration. So I appreciate that. So get out of your way, right, Joel? Because remember what I said, those that say it can't be done better get out of the way of all of us that are doing it. And that's the truth. So let me go ahead and ask a couple other questions. So John and Nick, and the same kind of thought, anything in your world that you think of when it looks like smaller events or postponement of events, ideas that you have?
So literally a week, I live in Kansas, and literally a week before our governor shut down schools and shut everything down, we filmed a wedding for a photographer friend in town. And it was, I think they had 11 people there. Like they wanted an intimate elopement with just their family. And I just got their video back and everyone's talking to me because we filmed it in more of a, tried to make it more of a hand style, more kind of home video type feel to it. So we really, which is different than what we normally do. And everyone who saw that, it was like, I felt like I was there, and the same day that we gave the video, that photographer, she's a photographer, she got an email from one of her clients. It was like, well, I guess we're going to have a boring courthouse wedding now. Like very down about a day that is supposed to be, magical and mean something in the rest of your life. And so if you're presented with, okay, you can only have 25, you can only have 50 people there. Like, I think it's such a cool opportunity for us to maybe film something a little bit differently, right, or think outside the box than we normally would film something or create something. Because everyone who's watched this film and they're planning on having a reception, in July or August or something like that, like I felt like I was there because of how it was captured. So right, if you can go there and like turn this and everyone seeing that's watched it, that just because there were 11 people there doesn't mean that it was like this sad, somber event because they couldn't have more people there. I think that's a disconnect that a lot of our clients are having, is less people equals less of a good time or less meaningful maybe. And so
I think it's fabulous.
Yeah. And so that was something that we were able to do. And now, we had the discussion, do you want to wait to your reception, to show this video because, that kind of makes sense. And she said, no, we want you to use this for your business, but also we want to be able to use this to show the world that you can have something small and intimate with not as many people, and it still means something to you, and also other people can enjoy it as well. So.
Right. And one of the things, and I'm going to turn it to you, John, on that. One of the things we know for a fact is emotion sells, and you know this better than me, but I go back, I worked at the Copacabana Palace in Rio when the Olympics were there. And if you go back and look at the advertising because that was Zika virus, if everybody recalls, I was down there like telling people, don't worry about the mosquito, we're fogging everything, trying to be that girl. And the advertising, because they had to make people feel good about going because people were worried about that, right? And the advertising, if you go back and just Google, like the Rio Olympic and the emotional ads, it was all about what Nick just said. It is the emotion that people buy. They don't buy stuff, they buy that emotional connection. John, thoughts on that?
Yeah, so for us, wedding videographers, photographers, like the emotion is so important. And for me, as a glass half full kind of guy, that's just my mode of operation, is how are we going to come out of this better and stronger? Like for me, it's been much easier for people inquiring for future dates saying, oh my goodness, I see how important this video is now because maybe not everybody's going to be there. Or these photos are so important because they're really able to see like, well, what if everybody's not here? What if I'm not able to have this big thing that I thought of? And so being able to capture the video in a way that does capture that emotion, like my job has gotten easier when it comes to future bookings and things of that nature. And, you know, having that positive attitude and that glass half full kind of attitude has been what has really, you know, with the people that have had to postpone, or with, you know, I've had several people move to like, we're doing a 10-person ceremony and a reception later, you know, accommodating them and taking good care of them. But at the same time, like really playing on the emotion of the fact that like, this is really important what we do. It's not a luxury, it is a necessity. And so,
absolutely.
so important what we do.
Good. So Julie, let me come over to you, and any comments on this or any questions we're getting from everybody that's tuned in?
Just that, you know, I think smaller events in the future is a realistic thing to expect for sure, for a certain amount of time. And I agree. It's, you know, there is no reason why the budget should suddenly drop for photo and video. And in fact, it should probably be raised, because obviously their F&B budget is going to be less, you know, whatever. Let's say it's 50 guests. Well, including the vendors, that's probably like 40 guests realistically. So yeah, being able to live stream, or, you know, and being able to provide, you know, all of this stuff that they can then show to their family and friends so that they feel like they were included is incredibly important. So
yes. Is there any questions that have popped up?
I have one that says, clients are now postponing September, October, November weddings into late 2021. Is anybody charging like extra in this case? Clients want no equity in this financial burden. Like they're freaking out.
All right, I'm going to go back. I'll go, Joel, you and Jose, like, what's your thoughts on this?
You know, I've had the same situation. I don't know, this is just the way I like to run my business. I'm kind of with you, Cindy, as far as like the emotional part of it all. I don't think it's right necessarily to be charging an extra postponement fee. I've heard of photographers doing 25% to postpone their wedding date. I'm not a fan of that, and the reason is because I've heard there's been so much lashback from these clients and wedding planners, who of course are sort of like their representatives. You know, so I'm sort of against it. I think that there's other ways that we could possibly maximize instead of making up that 25%, and that is by upselling potentially, doing other projects for the client. So my answer is not to do the 25%. I'm curious though what you would think, Cindy.
So you can imagine, my work has all been postponed, and my first gig is in June. I don't know if it'll go, but we haven't charged 1 cent for anybody moving. Now, one of the things somebody I saw pop up here said, how about backup dates? So what we're doing, our calendar is like filled to the gill, like July, August, September. So what we're doing is second option. So I'll say we can hold that, but you really want to look at a different date. So we're not charging anything for postponing, and we haven't up until this point. We have had such great feedback from our clients because they have really, I mean, I can't tell you, and I've got copies of some of these letters that I have seen from all kinds of businesses where these scathing emails to people are just, I laugh out loud. I mean, the good news is I'm such a professional that I don't share any of that. I want to look, I look at it and say, and people say to me, what do you think about this? I said, I think it's rubbish. And I would simply write them back and say, you know, I'm no longer working with you. That's simple. See, as I said, everybody goes back to zero when the rules change. I look at this like, you know what? How I treat you now is going to have everything to do with how I treat you in the future. Because many of us, again, got complacent. The business just rolled in and we were just busy. And all of a sudden now we've leveled the playing field. So I do, and I've seen a bunch of comments coming up just now, popping up. Yeah, bravo. Thank you. You know, Jose, I've seen them just pop. You saw them probably popping up. So people are agreeing. There's probably some out there that are charging, but you yourself said you've heard the negative backlash. Any thoughts on that, Julie, for you?
Yeah, it's, for me, it's kind of evolving as we go. We definitely are not charging any extra fees, no matter what they're, when they're postponing. What I am encouraging, because obviously most of my business is with planners, so that's who I'm hearing from first. And I'm asking them, do we have to decide now? And I'm just trying to kind of find out more information because they're inundated, right? They have all of their brides just so emotional, throwing stuff at them. Oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to have my wedding, whatever. So I always want to find out why are you talking about postponing a September date at this point? Sometimes it's like, oh, well, the invitations are super important to them. They have to send them out 3 months in advance, or, the venue only has this one date, Saturday date next year available. So they kind of have to make the decision now. So that sort of helps to decide if it's literally, if they're like, it's at my parents' house. We have all the flexibility in the world. The wedding's not till mid-October, and they're thinking about doing that now. I'm kind of saying, well, why don't we talk about postponing to a weekday? If it's your house and you can literally do any date, then, I'm offering like 10% back to have them switch to a weekday, because that leaves my weekends open, and my company can do several events on a weekend. So I'm trying to think of cash flow, like, okay, yeah, even though we can do so many on a weekend, do I really want to be doing mostly my 2020 weddings on Saturdays in 2021? Not really.
Correct. Because what you're trying to do is manage the volume of business, which is smart.
Right. So I'm just trying to like work with them, but everybody, what you've said so far is right. It's your reputation matters in this, in this situation. Like, people are going to remember how you treat them. And unless they're like choosing to postpone until 2022, just so they can have their 1,000-person event. Okay, well then maybe I would charge, a difference between my current rates in 2022. But I'm really, really trying to encourage with the planners, and this is actually my friend Layla's idea, that we work together as a team with all the vendors to convince that client that she is going to live if her wedding is not on a Saturday.
So before I'm going to go ahead, Joel, I wanted to
add with that, especially, we're not saying that charging is wrong. I think
correct.
that business model is different. But what you have to remember is, how are you making your clients feel during this time when you are charging them? If you're just sending an email that says there's an increase in 25%, rather than picking up the phone and saying, hey,
correct,
this is my current situation right now. I'm a busy guy. I'm a busy girl. I take on 25 weddings. It is impossible for me to take on 50 weddings next year. This is what I have to do. Are you in agreement with this? Clients will accept that more rather than just an email, because the reality is we don't know if that client lost their job, if they're having a hardship, if they're literally in bed, depressed, reading your email, and that's just going to spike them out of control, So just be very aware of how you're making people feel in the situation, because it's going to have repercussions 5 years from now. And it's really going to be an example of who you are.
Right. And even doing a call like this, I've had more, you got to remember, some of the cities that I'm dealing with the tourism councils, and they've been hit really hard, and you obviously know. And I've done my one-on-ones have been face-to-face, because I want them to see my empathy, because my tone of voice, occasionally I get feedback that it's a little, rough. And so when I do it, so if you go face-to-face with them, you can actually really have a nice conversation. So I think that's very important. John, you or Nick, anything on that, on, what we're talking about on
Yeah, I
postponement.
think that like I've built my business, 13 years of running a higher end video business here in Oklahoma off of the relationships that I have and the way that I treat people. And, part of this thing to me too is I reached out to all of the event coordinators and florists and people that I work with and just said, hey, here's our plan. And I got out in front of it. Kind of, here's an email, just so you know, this is kind of our plan. We only take about 20 clients a year. We're more boutique. So I called every single one of them individually. And yes, it was more work, but just was like, here's where I'm at, and kind of empathized where they are and let them into the world of where I'm at. And I've had one bride that was difficult to work with and I'm no longer working with her. But other than that, like they all empathized with me and said, oh, I know that you've got, 2 girls of your own and you can't be out every single weekend in 2020. And yes, if we can move it, we just worked together. And most people on this planet are good people and want to work with you and won't treat you like garbage for having, we're all in this together, like you said. And so we all kind of should be empathetic of each other's situation. So if you tee it up that way, especially like what you're saying, Cindy, with like a face-to-face call, it's really hard for someone to be a jerk to you whenever you're out in front of it, you're face-to-face with them. Like they're going to at least empathize and understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. Nick, anything on that?
No, I with our business, I pretty much did the same thing with John. I think getting out in front of it, like when this first happened, we use Honeybook and they sent out a bunch of resources, to contact people. So I emailed all of our brides and they've all been real, understanding and I mean, they're going through something stressful, and just to know that I'm on their side. So now whenever they're talking about what the future holds, they're not asking for refunds, like they're not canceling outright. They're saying, hey, what dates do you have available? And I think it's because, hey, we're on your team. We want to help you. How can we help you? Where if we wouldn't have sent that, we might've gotten more, I'm stressed out. I don't know what to do. Can I have my money back? So.
Right. And I think one thing I want to pick up on that you all said, and this is something Julie and I've talked about over the years, the relationship with the planners, all right, is like, that's what I mean about everybody goes back to zero, because we know there are planners that are so great in dealing with you. And then there's others, and bless them, but they get spun up. They won't let you talk to the client. No, you can't talk to the client. Okay, well, by the way, Miss Planner or Mr. Planner, you don't know anything about photography. You don't know anything. This has made me crazy since I've been involved in this industry from the get-go. And so now all of a sudden we need each other. And I think that this has been a wake-up call of a planner alone can't deal with all of this. And many of these planners, they don't even have that many weddings they do a year, and they'll let you know, I don't do that many weddings, but then they couldn't even deal with the 10 brides. And it was like, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, imagine dealing with the gazillion hotels I'm dealing with globally, and people that their business, just like all of ours, went from zero. If I was like stressed out, like, you have no idea, they would be like, we're getting another company when we're at this. So I think that the relationship, I think there should have been a much better team relationship, just like you all have said, from way before. And I think those planners that understand that are going to be way better off not trying to hold on to their customer like you're going to try to steal. You don't want to plan their wedding. You just want to do the photography or the videography. It's right. And I think this is going to help where everybody comes together in a much better way. I mean, just from the outside looking in. What do you think, Julie?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think, they're realizing, wow, we have a support team. All of these people are on our side. Let's bring them in to help us in this situation. Like, we're a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that also, it's good to, if you're not taking this time to really better your business and your strategies, and if you're complaining right now about having that business model where my company does so many events that it's impossible for us to double up for next year, then you need to reevaluate that business model and change a few things. Maybe you need a bigger team. Maybe it's time for you to raise those prices and take on a little bit less events or whatever it is.
Or bring on more people. I mean, right? Right?
Yep.
Are there, let me ask you, are there any other questions I want to make sure we answer in the Q&A?
Yeah, one, somebody saying like, okay, well, what if like all my dates in 2021 is all taken up by 2020? That's like, how am I going to survive with no revenue? And my answer to that is like, well, that's where you have to, just like Jose and Joel were saying, sell prints. For us videographers, even though we don't like to do this, we could sell raw footage. We could start doing real estate, walkthroughs, because those aren't really happening right now. I think the point is you can't get stuck in your head and be so scared that you can't think around it. You have to think out of the box at this point and know that your revenue, none of our revenues are going to be what they should have been in 2020. And they could be double in 2021 or whatever, 1.5 times, but we have to prepare for that. So what do we do to survive until then, basically?
And so you said real estate. So let me tell you a couple, because I have two, CB Richard Ellis, Coldwell Banker. So I've been on a couple calls. So what we've done is some of these real estate, professionals, they literally are like, we can't do shows. So I said, you can't just do this iPhone situation, because sometimes you don't even know what you're doing. But I said, you need to partner with a videographer that can actually go. Because as long as one person's outside, some states, I guess they arrest you, I don't know. But anyway, you walk in, I went to one of the houses with one of mine and helped her and said, there's where you got to go. Nobody said a word. And so at the end of the day, you can partner in other industries. Like right now, even in medical, there's so many things where they've got to do some video training, virtually led instructor training, that they need videographers. I'm on the board of Miss America, and I'm going to need a little help. I was going to reach out to you anyway, Julie. So it's the 100th anniversary of Miss America. Okay, the oldest, bless her. She's 96. She's in Idlewild. All right, and I'm not on the board. It's not about like, let's do another pageant. It's all about the empowerment of women. And so it's about doing things. And we're coming up to this 100th anniversary. And, I'm on a board with people that are kind of like, they're all formers, former Miss Americas. I'm like the only one that's not. And I said, ladies, here's the deal. We've got to do something where we go into their homes. They can take their own iPhone or have somebody and show, where do you keep your crown? Like Lee Merriweather, who is more famous, because she's here. And let's do some fun things. And then we'll get somebody, a videographer, to splice it all together. They looked at me at first like, okay, but you see, that's just one board, right? I'm on a board with human trafficking. There's all kinds of things we could be doing. Are you on a board? Are you volunteering? I've been doing things over at the library because, everyone's cleaning out their house. I didn't even know how much stuff we have that I didn't even know. Okay. And I've taken boxes of books and you put them out in the library then they, with the mask and everything. So there's a million different ways to make money. But if you're so much in just like, this is what I do, you won't be able to get out of this. And unfortunately, that is a transactional mentality, and it's not an entrepreneurial mentality. An entrepreneurial mentality learns how to make money. Absolutely learns how to make money when money's not there. It's so critical that it's not about people going, I'm sick of the word pivot. I get that. It's adaptability. My restaurant, I'm telling you, we had to turn a fine dining restaurant in 3 days into takeout with USDA prime steaks. And I got the Real Housewives of Orange County. And they're on the phone like, I want the burrata and the Brussels sprout. I'm like, we're not really doing that. Well, that's one of the main. I said, we're a crisis here. I go, have you paid attention? Is Bravo not filming you? What is wrong with you? We're in a crisis. And they're like this. Oh, I said, okay, so what I need you to do is snap out of it. Come pick up your bloody burger kit, go home and make it. We had to change, right? So you do have to be adaptable. Are there other questions on there for the group? What'd you see, Joel?
I saw a question on here from Maria Lang that said, what about being in an industry that's inundated with everyone doing the same pivots to create a new source of revenue? Again, it goes back to like, look at yourself. Like, even if I'm in a market here with several photographers who do something very similar to me, how fast am I going to reply to that inquiry? Am I going to pick up the call and talk to that wedding planner and say, hey, who is this client looking at? They're looking at you, they're looking at Julie, they're looking at Jose. Okay, well, have they scheduled any phone calls with these particular vendors? No, they haven't. Okay, well, when they do, may I please be the first phone call? you know, just get out of your way, get ahead of it, you know, get that job out there. So I know Julie's really good at this. She's a hustler too.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I worked with her, just to be clear. Here's the thing, okay? That question, and I love it, it was all the same before COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing, you've all been competing we've been sleeping with the enemy so long, we don't even know who the enemy is. Okay, so at the end of the day, 100%, we were doing it anyway. The only difference now is those of us that are stepping it up. That's the key to what Joel's saying. Julie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys, if you have not found out about this yet, it's freaking amazing. It's called BombBomb.com, I think. It's BombBomb Video. It's a way to do video emails to your clients. So if you're not able,
you've been doing it a while.
If you're not able to like get on the phone with all of them right away, or you want to record like a general, I'm going to record some after this because I actually did my hair and makeup, but you can upload it and like embed it into a Gmail, which with video, it's very hard to do that stuff, but it's a way to differentiate yourself. Instead of replying to an inquiry with an email, I'm going to send a BombBomb video and be like, hey, I'm Julie, you know, and reply that way. So it's just like you said, Cindy, you have to think of different ways to do things and be a little, you know, if you're risk averse, well, now's the time to just be like, oh, well, we're in survival mode. We have to try different things and experiment and, again, step out of the box.
And risk, let me just say, and John brought this up, and John, let me just qualify. Did you say I used to be a glass half empty, or you've always been a glass half full?
Always a glass half full, even if there's just a drop in the glass.
Exactly. Okay. And he brought up the people that he knows that are a glass half empty. I am a glass full. I'm bubbling over. Okay. Even my husband said, I think sometimes, you know, your confidence level, because he'll say, you know, did you do that? I'm like, I did it. Like in the cleaning, because we're cleaning every bit of this house. He'll come by, you know, I'm looking at the floor, you know, the molding or whatever's on the floor. I mean, I go, I did that part. He went, I don't think so. See, I'm bubbling over. I did it. It really looks good. It's like I get up every day because, you know, we've been kind of eating at home a lot and having cocktails at night. And he's like, you know, weighing himself. He goes, are you weighing yourself? I go, no, I'm totally fine. I'm exactly the same. He goes, you know, you really are funny. You're the kind of person that gets up, looks in the mirror and goes, oh, it looks really good. I go, well, I'm a glass full, right? So to John's point, even if there's a drop in it, and that's to the risk adverse. It's very difficult, my friends, to be an entrepreneur if you are scared. You can't lead with fear. You got to know that those of us that I'm not making the kind of money I want to make, I'm not spending either, okay? It's not that enjoyable. But here's the point. You will come out of this ahead, but you can't be afraid. And that's the thing. Calling a real estate company in your local area and saying, look, I can do the home tours for you and you can sell. Because right now people are struggling in that area because no one can get into a house. And I guarantee you can make it look a lot better than that real estate agent with an iPhone. So it's those things. And maybe you charge a tiny bit of money to do that, but that real estate agent's going to change their business because they're going to go, wow, I've been doing open houses every single Saturday and Sunday for the last 10 years and I'm over it. I could start doing this. They might change their business because of you, right?
Can I just jump into that really fast, Cindy? I got a cold call from a realtor in Newport Beach 2 days ago. Never heard of this person. Oh, I was just wondering if you were interested in buying a house. Well, first of all, I live in Colorado, but thanks anyway. But I said, no, but I do video. Do you guys need to do virtual showings? And he was like, actually, yeah, I've been looking for somebody. And then I was like, okay, let me get your phone number and I'll send you information. So I don't know.
You did it. Here's another idea on that. The hotels. Right now, hotels are having to do visits. Every hotel company, everyone's got one person, even if they're closed. And remember, about 40, 50% of hotels are open around the world because places like Oklahoma or Kansas, you know, maybe not New York City, but even here in Southern California, you know, I mean, the Rosewood in Santa Barbara, I think is like starting in June, pretty much sold out, right? So there's hotels open, but even the hotels that are closed they have a GM there, they got a salesperson there answering phones and dealing. So they're having to do virtual site visits. And I know this because I trained them in advance, like get with it, guys, get with somebody who can do this. You could literally in your own local market, so you're not even to fly, reach out to every hotel and say, have you really put together a good virtual site visit? So you can use it right now. Plus, they should be setting up their meeting rooms with the social distancing, okay? Because we know when we open, our bars aren't gonna have the bar stools like they have. We're gonna have the meeting rooms all set up 6 feet apart. So they need pictures of that and they need video of that right now. Just another example to do something different. Other questions that have come in that we could answer? Did anybody see any?
Somebody asked specifically to Joel and Jose, but I think it would be great to hear from everybody on this. Do you think 2021 do you think it's wise to raise our prices in 2021? Most of us photo and video people raise our prices yearly. So
go ahead. We'll start with Joel and Jose, and then we'll move to John and Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, usually yearly I raise my rates. So nothing's going to change on that. I mean, we will definitely raise the rates. I'm not going to raise them because of COVID, but it'll just be regular yearly kind of raise.
Yeah, what you do, your normal increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same. Yeah, I kind of, raise them throughout the year as I get busier and busier. And so I'll just kind of keep that same model that I've been doing the last few.
Right.
So.
Demand, correct. John?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And I was going to say from earlier, I think that so many of us have been in this, like you said, you've been sleeping with the enemy so long that you don't even realize you're there. I remember the real estate bubble being crazy when that was kind of when I was first getting going in business, 08, 09. And like, I am a natural born entrepreneur. I've been selling baseball cards and Beanie Babies and since I was a kid, and lemonade stands, and that's just in me. And so like, I've heard the expression that whenever that, you know who's skinny dipping when the tide goes out, and it feels like the tide has gone out and the ones that are there skinny dipping are like, wait a second, I'm naked and it. I haven't planned. I don't have an emergency fund. I don't have another plan. And I would encourage the people out there listening that it's like, yes, it might suck for a year while we figure all this stuff out, but we will get back to normal. And I think that times like this are whenever you separate, the business owners from the hobbyists. And I would encourage you, if you're listening or watching this, it's like, this is where you step it up. And it's like, yeah, you might do some real estate videos. Yeah, you might need to raise your prices a little bit or whatever, but the people that are the go-getters and the ones that are going to get it done are going to lap you if you're not paying attention and getting out there and doing the things that you need to do.
Now, John, I'm going to definitely quote you on that skinny dipping when the tide goes out.
You can have it.
I mean, that is classic. I just love it. Okay. I love it. Julie, skinny dipping when the tide goes out?
I mean, I've never heard that before and I love it. So
I didn't make it up, but I will say that it's mine. Just quote John
That's okay,
Bunn.
John.
Just tag me on Instagram.
I love it so much.
I'm going to raise my prices. And I think what's going to happen in 2021, I mean, like I said, I'm just like Jose and Joel, I'm not raising them dramatically, just the amount I normally do. But I think there's going to be more competition for 2021 dates. So why wouldn't you raise your prices like you normally do? You're going to get the business. Like, why would you discount when you're going to be doubly busy? So, and I think these brides, at least the ones I've talked to for 2021, they understand that they're competing for vendors and for dates against 2020 postponed brides. So
yeah. There was a question on here on, I do want to reach out to coordinators and different vendors and people, and I just don't want to seem sleazy. And I think here's the way and with all the sales training that we've been doing with all our clients, is that the way you reach out is you reach out very authentically genuine, okay? No one can fake that. It's like all of us are going through the same thing, but you reach out with, how has your business changed? What can I do to help you? Would you like to just have a brainstorming session of new ideas? I would love to be able to, hear from you how your company's changing, what you're going to do. If they're an independent, what are you doing to make sure that you're taking care of yourself? Just even for mental health, what are you doing? Anything that when you reach out, you're asking questions. No one's going to get on the phone and hard sell anybody right now. But what you're doing is you're, first of all, curious, and you're learning, and those questions will help you get a little bit closer to that person. So when it's over, you can set some dates to chat, then you can actually go see them and that sort of thing. I just was looking at if there's any other ones.
Well, we only have about 6 minutes left. So maybe Cindy, if we want to do like a roundtable closure on this conversation, last thoughts, that might be good.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start right over here. Over to you, Jose. We're going to start. Go Joel, Nick, Julie. I'll skip me, go to John, and I'll wrap it up.
Perfect.
So go ahead. Last minute thoughts. Yep. I'm starting with you. Starting with you, darling.
Keep positive, and reach out like someone said earlier today, just to those planners. How are you doing? How can I help? I love that, Cindy. But really it's about making decisions that will better your business when we're out of this. And what I've done is I've reached out to a lot of these photographers that aren't necessarily at the 20-year mark, 10-year mark, but at the 2 and 3 year mark, 4-year mark, and just saying, hey, how are you guys doing? We've been teaching photography workshops for many years, and so we've reached out to a number of them and just asked them, how can we help you in this situation? Because it's always not just about us. So if we can, and Joel and I talk about this, how can we help those that need a little bit more help right now?
Good. Yeah. Wonderful.
I agree with John. I see the glass half full always, even if it's not full, even if it has like half a drop in there. And I think it's important to give back during this time, like Jose said, educating younger professionals or people that you normally mentor. Right now is not a time to be possessive with like your earnings. It's a little bit of a time to also give back. So like, if you're receiving some sort of income, no matter how small it is or how big it is, like remember all of the people that work with you or your team, and remember to give back. Like Jose and I just wrote a check to our housekeeper at our office for the whole time she hasn't been there, and she was shocked. I mean, she was at the brink of tears. And we told her, as long as we're able to receive income from our clients, we are still going to support you. You have nothing to worry about. You're still going to clean our office when this is all done, and you're still going to make money at the comfort of your home. And just learning to give back always. Jose just had a phone call the other day with a potential bride, and I kind of overheard her ask him, my family is very professionals. Most of them are doctors. Most of them are at the forefront of COVID. Are you going to be comfortable doing our December wedding, knowing that? And Jose's answer without hesitation was, yes, I'm ready, because that is the life we're living in now, and we have to move forward with this, not backwards, So
Exactly.
That's my advice. Move forward, keep thinking progressively, keep thinking positively.
Excellent. Oh, perfect. And Nick?
Yeah. So I had one wedding where a bride, I was trying to help her figure out a new date, what's going on. And then she said, hey, I think we're going to cancel, like outright cancel. And so, I think in any situation, we get like upset and tense or whatever. So I hopped on the phone and I called her and I just talked to her about, why are you wanting to cancel? And she was like, I'm just so stressed about everything. So I just kind of talked to her, and she was like, I don't even about rescheduling. She's like, I don't even know when I would do this. And so for her, I mean, this was $8,000 booking, like our highest booking of the year. And I said, hey, you know what? Here's an option. How about I give you like a 24-month credit, so that you can, you don't have to worry about it right now, but whenever you pick a date, the only stipulation is that we're available for your new date. And then she was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So when it comes to rescheduling, think a little, how can you help them? Because she was just so stressed, and the planning process was crazy to her, and then all this on top of it. So just giving her an option of saying, hey, we don't even have to decide now. Like if you want to wait 6 months before you even think about this, fine. But so that was something that was really beneficial for her.
Adaptability and flexibility.
1 minute warning.
Go for it, Julie.
Oh, just stay positive and be flexible, and we're all gonna party soon. That's
And John,
Yeah.
My little nugget is perspective. It's been about 40 days since all this began. We're gonna get through it. Just breathe. Perspective. In 120 days, we'll be closer to the end of this. I know it's a bummer in the meantime. You know, there's a lot going on, but the perspective you have, just giving yourself, you know, thinking a little bit further into the future. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be fine. Keep that glass half full.
we're going to make it after all. Thank you so much. One more thing, Joe, you have anything?
We will have a party for sure, Julie.
Yeah.
We will have a party. Yes. So I just say, remember, nothing in the world will ever take place of persistence. I'm here to tell you that as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, smiling and knowing there will be a party in your future, we're going to make it after all. So thank you very much for having me on this with all of you, and for all of you that listened in, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.